you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Good morning. It's so good to be with you again as we enter into this time of meditation. We have been so blessed by everything that's been shared this morning. And now I invite us to go more deeply into our internal sanctuary. We recognize this physical sanctuary as a place of refuge. And we now turn our attention inward to that inner sanctuary, that place within, that place where we know that we know that we know, a place where answers come, inspiration is found, courage blossoms forth. That place within where we are most aware of our Christ being, of our oneness with the divine. So we turn our attention inward to that place. Place in consciousness. And from that place, we breathe. We breathe the breath of new life, the breath of restoration, the breath of love, the breath of inspiration. We breathe all good and nothing else. We breathe in life and we exhale love. For we are here to be a transformative presence in our world. And we find that we become that transformative presence by going within. I invite you to center yourselves now in that inward space and allow Spirit to be present with you, in you, and through you as we take these moments in the silence. We breathe in life and we exhale love, drawing on that strength and power within to transform. We give thanks for this power that is ours by divine right. We give thanks that we can meet any challenge that arises by turning within. We give thanks for that internal sanctuary, that secret place of the Most High. And breathing in and breathing out in gratitude and thanksgiving and great joy, we say, thank you, sweet Spirit. Amen. As Linda mentioned, my topic today is, are you spiritually homesick? I am drawing upon principles in Emily Cady's book, Lessons in Truth, and we have progressed to chapter 9. And it's a great time for us to talk about homesickness and its overcoming as we support all of those who have been affected by Harvey and Irma. And I learned today about forest fires in the West. The humans, the animals that have been displaced from what they think of as their physical home. Over 300,000 people have been displaced from Myanmar and have been sent into Bangladesh. Refugees from countries around the world have come to America to make a new beginning, forced to flee their homes, seeking refuge here. I'd like to share with you something that I found just this morning. It is the complete poem that appears on the Statue of Liberty. Part of it will be familiar, and part of it won't. This poem is called The New Colossus, and it was written by Emma Lazarus in 1883. Imagine having your poem selected to grace the Statue of Liberty. The New Colossus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ye ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. So many millions of people have been displaced, and for many the deepest desire of their hearts would be to go home. Just let me go home. If only circumstances permitted it. This sense of dislocation creates a sense of homesickness. People want to get back to their houses, to see what's left, and if at all possible, to stay there because it's home. If you've ever been homesick, you know what an unpleasant feeling that can be. But in most of our cases, we do get to go home. We know that home is still there and that we are just away for the moment. So I have a question for you. It's not rhetorical, it's a real question. When you're away and you think about home, what thoughts come to mind? And you can speak freely. When you think about home, what thoughts come to mind? What words? Comfort. Familiarity. Security. Family. Your garden. Pets. holidays, the special Christmas china, the marks on the wall that show the growth of the children in the family, home, the photograph albums, the CD collection, so many things. Safety, security, love, well-being. But you know what? It's not only in times of crisis that we can feel homesick. We can long for safety and security and love and well-being at any time. In fact, many of us are longing for these feelings right here and now. We may want a different job, a different partner. I'm not saying, no, I'm not. Don't look at each other. A different house, or just more toys. We might seek relief from physical, mental, or emotional pain. We may long for healthier and more loving relationships with friends and family. We may want to feel protected and loved, encouraged, and cared for. We might want to feel confident, capable, and creative. Think of all the things that you've desired in life and what you desire today. And I'd like to do this actually in the moment. I invite you to close your eyes if you want to and take a moment to ask yourself the question, what is it that I need and desire today? Take a moment with that. I'm not going to ask you to tell me aloud, but just take a moment. What is it that I need and desire today? I think there was something for each and every one of us. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think that. I'm not going to ask you to testify, but I think there is in all of us a questing, something that quests, something that longs for something better, more, different, or that is in general unsettled. And this is not a bad thing, because if we think about us being the expression of the divine, the divinity is welling up from us out into the world, and it is our natural evolutionary journey to want to grow, to be more, to do more, to express something new. So there is nothing wrong with our needs, our wants, and our desires. I'm no Latin scholar, but I understand that desire means of the Father. So take that for what it's worth and look it up in your Latin dictionary when you get home. But desire is divine. There's nothing wrong with desire. And yet, in chapter 9 of her book, Emily Cady says that this longing that we have is really deeply a desire to know God better, to know God's Spirit in a deep and personal way, and to find Spirit within. She writes this: at the great heart of humanity, there is a deep and awful homesickness that never has been and never can be satisfied with anything less than a clear, vivid consciousness of the indwelling presence of God, our Father. Today we would say our Father, Mother, or we might say Spirit, which is what I use most of the time. But Emily is writing in the 1880s, so we'll allow her use of the male pronoun, okay? Okay? Yep. Okay. It's really awkward to try to change it. In all ages, earnest men and women who have recognized this inner hunger as the heart's cry for God have left seeking after things and have sought by devoted worship and by service to others to enter into this consciousness. But few have succeeded in reaching the promised place where their joy is complete. And why is that? Because we go questing after it. We go seeking after it. We think one more class, nothing against classes, I teach them. Nothing against coming to church on Sunday, I do that. But in our questing after the guru who has the wisdom, the next book, the next talk, the next CD, where we will find the magic, in that questing we are turning away from our own inner wisdom, are we not? Are we not? You can participate with me. Yes. Thank you. The title of this chapter 9 is The Secret Place of the Most High, and it comes from Psalm 91, and I'm going to reference this often. Today I'm reading from the King James Version of the Bible. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. I imagine that many of us have heard that before. It combines spiritual imagery with the imagery of the soldier, the warrior. And yet it describes a place of safety and all of the ways in which those who live there are protected. God's truth will be our protection. And we won't even be afraid of those things in life that can be scary. Metaphysically, the secret place of the Most High is that inner place where we find and reconnect with the divine Spirit, God. Why is it called secret? Because it's inside. We can't see it with our human eyes. It's not a physical external place. It is instead a state of consciousness. And when we are in this consciousness, we are safe from the snare of the fowler. And what is a snare? It's a loop of material that when pulled can trap a bird. So we don't have to be caught in thought traps. Anybody here ever had a trap thought? Something that catches you? There it is again. I don't really want more of that. What traps of thought might catch us? Different for everybody. But we can accidentally snag thoughts we don't really want. Is that not true? Yeah, thank you. The noisome pestilence, which is a great term for what it is, a stinky, obnoxious sickness. Metaphysically, what might that be? The Fillmores would have called it race consciousness. We might call it groupthink. Group beliefs are contagious. And some of the groupthink that goes on, I'm just here to say, might not be all that healthy. If you know what I'm saying. Okay. So we can avoid trapping thoughts. We can avoid the contagion of groupthink or race consciousness. And in this place, we are sheltered by loving wings where we can feel safe and we can trust. I want you to take a moment and imagine yourself being loved and cradled by divine wings. What a powerful thing. So we are sheltered and protected. Divine truth will defend us, the shield and the buckler, our military protection. And not only will we be protected, but we won't even be afraid of bad things, like terror by night, the pestilence that walks in darkness. And what might those things be in our lives? Dark fears that want to overwhelm us, like depression, or the negative gloom of resentment, hatred, discrimination, false judgment. Those might be the terror by night. And we no longer need to be afraid of the arrow that flies by day. And what might that be? Anxiety that zings us, or the hurtful words of others. We are protected from that. We are protected and unafraid of the destruction that wasteth at noonday, i.e., being steeped in the news, steeped in worry, judgment, and ain't it awful? Destruction that wasteth at noonday. And we won't fear these things because we are in the shelter of the Most High. Within, we have found shelter. So today we're going to aim for that clear, vivid consciousness of the indwelling presence of God, the secret place within, where we know our oneness. Now sometimes somebody new to unity might wonder, well, where is this shelter within? Is it located in a particular part of the body? This is like the question of earlier times, where is the soul? Isn't it? It's really the same question. Where is the soul? Actually, we know now that energy is in every particle and wave of our being. Every single cell. The divine is life. Life is the divine. It's built in, and it guides you in so many activities without you even realizing it. Almost always, you don't have to think in order to take your next breath. You don't have to tell your digestive system to do its thing. So that's all built into us in our physical being. But I want to focus on our consciousness right now of the divine presence, because that's where the secret place of the Most High is knowable by us. We could sit and think about all the cells of our being and how they're working, but it's more appealing, I think, to think about the consciousness of the divine that enfolds us, that protects us, that keeps us safe. This is a home that cannot be swept away from you in a flood, lost in an earthquake, or burned up in a fire. It's where you find your oneness with Spirit, peace of mind, confidence, understanding, and the power to meet any challenge. Do you believe that? The power to meet any challenge? We are seeing it happening, folks, in the places that have been most deeply affected. We find people able to meet the challenge. Cajun, Navy, and all. Well, someone new to unity might also wonder, how am I going to get there? I don't know how to get to that place inside. We get there through prayer and meditation. We can't think our way there. We cannot think our way there. I am a thinker, and learning to trust my intuition has been something of a challenge. We can't get through our intellect alone. Reading, studying, thinking, going to seminars won't get us there. It requires the use of our intuition as well as our intellect. If you've ever had an intuition about something, and I'm sure you have had, you may have experienced what I do, which is kind of a physical knowing. A physical knowing about something when I can't even really explain it in words. But if I follow that intuition, I'm using my intuition, and then I'm using my intellect to make the choices to follow through on that intuition, right? So intuition and intellect need to work together. And Emily writes this about these two that have to be in sync. Intuition and intellect are meant to travel together. Intuition always holding the reins to guide intellect. Do we get that backwards sometimes? Yeah, we want to go with that intellect first, and, well, intuition is kind of there, but we know what we should do, huh? She is saying, trust your intuition and let your intellect follow. So the intuition has the reins, and the intellect is there to do the bidding of the intuition. And this is an inward process, just like the caterpillar that goes into the chrysalis and turns into mush and then comes out a butterfly. That's an internal process, isn't it? You can't follow a recipe and make that happen. No caterpillar I know has ever read the recipe and just followed the directions. There's a letting go, a trusting, and what emerges on the other side is great beauty. So peace is found within. We can set our intention to go within, as Jesus went apart to pray. Or we may find ourselves in challenging situations where we just naturally turn to the divine wisdom within to know how to deal with a situation. Or, think about this, how to let a situation unfold without meddling in it. Are there any meddlers in the group? No. You don't have to go public. There are lots of challenges in life, and they become our stepping stones to greater faith. If you've had the experience, you know what I'm talking about. These things that we meet with our truth principles strengthen our faith muscle, so that when the next occurrence comes, we are all the better prepared to meet it. As we build our faith within, we become stronger, more loving, more creative, and we develop all the great special aspects of our own unique being. Because of time, I am going to be a bit constrained in what I would like to do with you today, but I want to just share a couple, 5 steps that are the unity prayer process, and they can also be a great way to set up your prayer and meditation time. In the unity prayer process, there is a time of meditation. So that can be kind of confusing. There's this 5-step prayer process, and then there's meditation built into that. But you do this all the time anyway, so don't let the structure bother you. Go with your intuition, okay? And then there's also meditation that you might enter into just with a simple question, and you go into the silence, and you just let come what comes. But if you're wanting to know how to start, the first thing to do is to know that you are present in God, and God is present in you. There is no separation. Second, envision that which you are seeking, that which you're looking for an answer to. Hold it in your mind's eye for a moment. See it, touch it, listen for it. If it has a lovely fragrance, inhale that also. Envision yourself interacting with this wonderfulness. Third, set it on the altar and step back a few paces. So you've gone within to the sanctuary within, and now your wish, and you're setting it on the altar. And then you back up a little bit, And as you do that, you enter into your meditation knowing that everything you need is already yours. That God is pure potential. And that what you need and desire is ready and waiting for you. Knowing that you are complete here and now. Knowing that what you are seeking is truly a greater realization of your oneness with God. And you rest in this secret place of the Most High, trusting and listening. Trusting and listening. This is not about blah, 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 blah. This is being quiet and trusting and listening. After your time in meditation, then, realize the contentment that comes to you. Know that you have all you need. It is done in spirit. Just be content. And fifth, give thanks for your time in the secret place of the Most High. And you know, just as there are stories of love and grief, there are stories of love in action, of generosity, and of communities discovering one another again. And there are stories of new life coming into the world. So as we pray with our brothers and sisters around the world for resolution of the current challenges that they are facing, we trust and know that good is coming forth. If you haven't seen the iconic photo of Baby Hope, I invite you to Google that this afternoon or this evening while the Packer game is on and it goes to commercial. Google Baby Hope. There was a photo special that was done. And it turns out that this baby, it was in her mom, being evacuated during Harvey in a Cajun Navy flat-bottom boat when it was time to be born. Mothers around the room, think about that for a minute. And there is this photo of Baby Hope lying on a life preserver vest on the seat of the flat-bottom Cajun Navy boat, sound asleep, as peaceful and serene as you could ever imagine. Nobody has told her to be afraid yet. She is living in the simplicity of her oneness with the divine. Would that we could all return there more frequently. She's dwelling blissfully in the secret place of the Most High, safe from all negative thought, all fear, all worry. We can do that too. It's just we have to maybe focus a little more because we've seen other stuff, right? So this week I invite you to dwell in the secret place of the Most High. Make it your conscious home. When you say, I'm going home now, pause to think about what home is for you and remember your inward home. Breathe from there. Love from there. Serve from there. It is the place of all inspiration, the source of all answers, the home of pure love. If you feel homesick, turn within, dwell in that secret place of the Most High, and know that you are blessed. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.